Hello, everybody. It's Bill. It's that college football guy here. We're on the video time for part two of the AAC prediction videos. We're talking about Memphis. We're talking about Navy. We're talking about North Texas, and we're talking about Rice. So, shall we get into this? A lot of paperwork here, a lot to get into. Okay, Memphis. We'll start off with them. 10-3 last season. They beat Iowa State in the Liberty Bowl, which basically was a home game. Vegas has got their win total at 9.5. Ryan Silverfield's the head coach. He's 31-19 in 5 years at Memphis. Quarterback Seth Hennigan is back. That's a big, huge thing here for him. And this offense will continue to be very, very explosive with him behind the helm. Offensive line, starting should be okay, but depth rotational issues, if there's going to be injuries, that could be a problem later on in the season. Defensive line really needs to improve the pass rush that underperformed last season. And the linebacker room, they actually be something very, very special this season. So, shall we get into it? All right, let's talk about game one at home against North Alabama. Yeah, that's a dub. Then they're at home next week against Troy. This is not the Troy teams you've seen the last few years. New staff, new everything else. They got a lot more talent, Memphis does, so they're beating Troy. Then they're on the road at Florida State week 3. If you watch the ACC predictions, you know the fact Florida State's beating Memphis. Then they're on the road at Navy. Navy beat them by 4 at home last year. Now they go on the road, but I think Memphis is one of proving a point. They're going to go on the road, and they're going to beat Navy. Home against Middle Tennessee State. If you watch the Scrabble roll call predictions, you know the fact that you're losing to Middle Tennessee State. It's going to be a tough game for you, but you're losing to them. Kind of basically what the thing is that you're overlooking them is the main loss here. Then you get your first bye. You're on the road at South Florida. You beat them at 9 at home last year. This is gonna be a dogfight of a game, but I've got you going into South Florida and beating South Florida. Then you're at home against North Texas. You beat them by 3 on the road last year. Now at home, you're going to get another win there. Then you're on the road at Charlotte. I covered this in part 1. You're going to beat Charlotte on the road. Then you're at home against UTSA. This is going to be a dogfight of a game. This is going to be maybe one of the best games, potentially game of the year in the AAC. And it's really a coin flip. And you're at home, so I'm going to give you the edge, and you're going to beat Texas San Antonio. Then you're at home against Rice the following week. You just got more talent than they do, and you're at home, so you're going to win that game as well. Then you're home against UAB. You beat them by 24 on the road last year. You're going to beat them again this year. Then you get your bye, and you finish the season on the road at Tulane. You lost to them by 10 at home last year, but this isn't last year's Troy team. This isn't the Tulane team either. This is the Troy staff in it. You're on the road. This one was a tough call for me because I'm going okay, you're on the road. It's the end of the year. But I trust Seth Hennigan to come up with it because he's done it time and time again. So on the road at Tulane, I'm picking you to upset Tulane on the road. And people say it's an upset, but I'm having you to beat Tulane on the road. That means you're going to finish 10-2, 8-0 in conference. And one of the teams going to the conference championship most likely. But anyway, next up, we got the midshipmen of Navy. Vegas says you went total of 5.5. He went 5-7 last year. Brian Newberry, he's in year 2. Let's see how that's going to go here. How well can Blake Horvath run this offensive attack? It's an option attack. How well is he going to run it? The linebacker room defensively, my big issue for them. It's a military academy. Linebacker room is very, very inexperienced. How well can they transition and improve? That's going to be a key thing for them. So let's start off the season at home against Bucknell. That's a win. Then they're at home against Temple. You lost to them by 14 on the road, Navy. What the hell? You lost to these guys on the road. Now you're at home, and you're going to beat Temple. Then you get your first bye of the season. You're at home against Memphis. I literally just covered this. You're losing to Memphis. Then you're on the road at UAB. You beat them by 25 at home last year. I see you going into Birmingham and beating them again. Then you're on the road at Air Force. 2 service academies going head-to-head. You lost to them by 11 at home. Now you're going to Colorado Springs. Yeah, Air Force is going to beat you. Then you get another bye. You're at home against Charlotte. This was covered in part 1. You're beating Charlotte. Then you're in Landover, Maryland, neutral site against Notre Dame. I covered this in the subscriber roll call prediction video. You're losing to Notre Dame. Then you're on the road at Rice. This is basically a coin flip game I have with you and Rice. Is basically kind of the same team. how's it going to go here? So I looked at it going like, okay, you're on the road, you're losing to Rice. Then you're on the road at South Florida. You lost to them by 14 at home last year. They got an explosive offense. Even though they're retooling the team, I'm having you losing at South Florida. Then you're home against Tulane. You just don't have the firepower to keep up with them. Tulane's beating you at home. Then you're on the road at East Carolina. I covered this in part one. You're losing to East Carolina. Then you get your next bye because it is the All-American game, the Army-Navy game in East Rutherford, New Jersey. If you watch part one of this, you already know the fact that I have Navy beating Army. So they finish 5-7 for the year, 3-5 in conference. Next up, we have the North Texas Mean Green, 5-7 last year. Vegas has got their win total at 5.5. Eric Morris, just like we had with the second-year coach, he's be starting in year 2 at North Texas. How well is he going to do this year? Chandler Morris, transfer quarterback from TCU, is coming in. His big issue is, can he stay healthy and how well can he adjust this offense? That's going to be a key thing there. Offensively, their wide receiver room is very young. They're very talented, but they're young. How well they can adapt. Defensive line, dude, where was the pass rush last year? I mean, it's not like it was average. It was almost non-existent in spots. And defensively as a whole, got to force more turnovers. Not enough what you need to produce for. So that's got to be worked on. All right, so we start about this. Let's start on the road at South Alabama in week 1. Look at this as a coin flip game. You're at home, I would have given you the edge, but you're on the road, so you're losing that game. Then you're at home against Stephen F. Austin. You just got more talent than they do. You're beating Stephen F. Austin. Then you're on the road at Texas Tech. I covered this in the Big 12 predictions. You're losing at Texas Tech. Then you're at home against Wyoming. Another coin flip game. If you had been on the road, I would have picked you to lose, but you're at home, so I'm having you beat Wyoming. Then you're at home against Tulsa. You beat them by 7 on the road last year. Now you play them at home. I've got you beating Tulsa again. Then you get your first bye. You're on the road at FAU. I covered this in part 1. You're losing on the road at Florida Atlantic. Then you're on the road at Memphis. I just covered this. You're losing at Memphis. Then you're at home against Tulane. You lost by 7 on the road last year. And I think this is the year you get some revenge. I'm picking you to beat Tulane at home. Then you get your second bye. You come out of the bye at home against Army. I covered this in part 1. You're beating Army. Then you're on the road at Texas San Antonio. You lost by 8 at home last year. Now you're on the road. UTSA is going to beat you. Then you're at home against East Carolina. I covered this in part 1. You're beating East Carolina. Then you're on the road at Temple. You beat them by 31. 31 at home last year. Now you're on the road. Margin of victory won't be as big, but you're beating Temple to finish the season 7-5, 5-3 in conference. Next up, or I should say last up, the Rice Owls finished 6-7 last year. They lost to Texas State in the First Responder Bowl. Vegas has got their win total at 6.5. Mike Bloomgren, who's been their head coach, he's 22-46 in 6 years at Rice. Not exactly a great record. A guy who went transferred from one school in the American to the other. E.J. Warner, Kurt Warner's son, left Temple to come to Rice. How well can he pick up this offense? The running game needs to improve and improve quickly if they're going to have any chance to do anything. And defensively, the defensive line, by G5 standards, is a bit undersized, but they get the job done, but not enough run stop for my liking. And this one here, your defense has got to produce more turnovers because you just underperformed in that category. So shall we get into this with the Rice Owls? First off, start the season at Sam Houston State. That's a win. Then you're on the road at Texas Southern. Yeah, that's another win. Then you're on the road. You're home against Texas Southern. That's a win. Then you're on the road at Houston. I covered this in the Big 12 prediction videos. You're losing on the road at Houston. Then you're on the road, continuing the road at Army. I covered this in part 1. You're losing to Army. Also covered in part 1. You're at home against Charlotte. You're beating Charlotte. Now you get your first bye. You come out of the bye at home against UTSA. You lost to them by 23 on the road last year. You're not beating them again. UTSA is going to beat you in your building. Then you're on the road at Tulane. You lost to them by 2 at home last year. You don't have some of the same firepower. They're going to be retooled. I'm having you lose to Tulane on the road. Then you're on the road at UConn. You played them last year in home and home. You lost to them by 7. And I see you losing to them on the road in Stores again. So you're losing that game. Then you're home against Navy. Literally just covered this. you're beating Navy. And then on the road at Memphis, literally just covered this just a little bit ago, you're losing on the road at Memphis. Then you get your second bye, you're on the road at UAB. This is a coin flip game. The teams are pretty close together. You're at home, and giving you the edge, but you're on the road at UAB, so I'm having you lose to UAB. And you finished the season at home against South Florida. You lost to them by 13 on the road last year. This is probably one of the bigger wins of your season because you're at home against South Florida, a team that's expected to be good, and you're beating them to finish off the regular season at 5-7, 3-5 in conference. So to do a little recap here, we got Memphis at 10-2. 8-0 in conference. We have Navy at 5-7, 3-5 in conference. We have North Texas at 7-5, 5-3 in conference, and we have Rice at 5-7, 3-5 in conference. But why don't you let me know, what do you think about all of this? So, again, thanks everybody for watching the video. If you haven't done it already, please do me the favor. Smash the like button, hit the thumbs up. It helps with the algorithm, helps the video be seen by more people. Comment on the video. I'll show you my dang name here. Memphis, Navy, North Texas, Rice. Where was I right? Where was I wrong? Things you agree with, things you disagree with. Let me know down in the comments about that. Share the video if you want to, and if you haven't done it already. First off, everybody subscribe to the channel already. Thank you so much for doing so. Also, it happened. I've had a glitch in mine. The subscriber thing varied a little bit. Mainly I got notifications on some things that didn't make any sense. I got told this happens when things get screwed up. You pick up subscribers and lose. You have the same number of subscribers, but you picked up a subscriber, but you lost one of your old ones. So everybody's on there on the channel who's already a subscriber. Go ahead and double check. Make sure you're still a subscriber. Make sure that bell is clicked. You have for notifications. You know when I post a video. Check on that. If you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and check out some other videos I've done. And if you like them, hey, subscribe to the channel. On the way to 700 subscribers, slowly but surely on the road to 1K to make some things happen. So again, thanks everybody for watching. If you want to follow me on Twitter, on X, the link's going to be in the description. Part 3 tomorrow. I'm recording these at the house. Now we're going to be on the truck. We'll see how that goes. It's going to be crazy. I'm going to be down in South Alabama near the Florida border, hoping a hurricane doesn't shift its track. So we'll see how that goes. So thanks everybody for watching. Everybody has a great day. Be safe out there, and please be good to each other.